So, good evening. What type of function are the graphs below? So, this is the graph of y equals 2 to the x, or f of x equals 2 to the x. Why? Because if x is equals to 0, we've got 2 to the 0 that is equal to 1, and 2 to the power of 1 that is 2, and 2 to the power of 2 that is 4, 2 to the power of 3 that is 8, and so on. And how about this one? This one is the same as an exponential function, but this graph is the graph of y equals e to the x. So y equals e to the x, where e is equals to 2.71828. And we know that is irrational because there is no pattern in this number. So what is limit of e to the x as x goes to 0? So kung mapapansin natin, by definition that e to the x as x goes to 0, dapat masasatisfy niya ang dalawang pattern that una, as x goes to the 0 from the left and x goes to 0 from the right. And if they have the same value, then that is the limit of e to the x. So from the left, we have here, papunta daw siya ng 0 from the left. The value is e to the 0, that is 1. So dito yung graph natin, the intersection is 1. And then e to the x from the right, or o plus, that is papunta siya ng 0, and then still the value is 1. Therefore, the limit of e to the x as x goes to 0 equals 1. Say, for example, we have this. Limit of e to the x as x goes to 0. Alam na natin that the value equals to 1. Limit of e to the power of as x goes to 2. So, we have got e squared. So, the answer is e squared. Limit of e to the x as x goes to negative 1. So, that is e to the power of negative 1. By direct substitution, that is 1 over e. Limit of e to the x plus 1 as x goes to 1, that is e squared. And we've got limit of e to the x plus 1 as x goes to negative 2. So negative 2 plus 1, that is e to the negative 1, or 1 over e. That is the value. So knowing that this is an exponential function, this is the graph of y equals 2 to the x. As you can see, the domain of these are all real numbers. That means lahat ng x, it could be positive, it could be negative. But the range ay nasa taas lang. So, wala pong negative na y. Puro po positive. So, that means the range are all positive real numbers. And the horizontal asymptote is here. So, ito po yung horizontal asymptote where the graph cannot touch. And that is the x-axis, or y equals 0. In this red graph, this is the mirror image of this, and this one is an inverse of the exponential function, that is the logarithmic function, with base 2. The base here is 2, same with base, so log of x base 2. And we know that this is the y equals x, diba? Dati ma-remember yun to find the inverse, we set y equals x, let x equals y, or y equals x, then solve for y. So, kung mapapansin natin, ito yung ating inverse function ng exponential function na y equals 2 to the power of x. That is log of x base 2. This graph, that means the domain of this is, ang domain nyo po ay dito lang siya. That means wala po siyang dito sa x-axis. So, all positive real numbers. Ang range po niya ay taas-baba. That means all real numbers. And the vertical asymptote is here. This is the y-axis, or the x equals 0. So kung mapapansin niyo, ang domain ng ating exponential function ay range ng ating logarithmic function because they are inverses. And the domain of this is the range of this. So that is the inverse functions, the switch of the domain and the range. So look at this graph. This red graph is the graph of log of x base 2. So kung mapapansin natin na ang graph na ito ay, mapapansin natin kung ang x niya ay 0, hindi po talaga, wala po talagang value. It goes here, hindi talaga makikita. But if x is equals to 1, that is 0. So, the log of x base 2, when x goes to 0, when x goes to 1, I mean, the value is 0. Why? Because 2 to the 0 equals 1. Okay? So, ulitin ko, pag ang x po ay 1, that becomes log of 1 base 2. It means, Ang exponent niya ay ano kung ang 2 ang base at ang result ay 1. That is log of x base 2. It means na ang exponent ay 0. So that's why the value of y is 0. How about this? What is the value of x that this one, e? Okay. So kung mapapansin ninyo, kung itong log of x, kung ang x dito ay mag 2, so that means magpareho sila, it goes to 1. Okay? And then kung mag-e ni siya, still, kung e na siya, it goes to 1. Kung mag-10 na siya, log of 10 base 10, it goes to 1. So therefore, log of 2 base 2 equals 1, log of e base equals 1, log of 10 base 10 is 1, log of x base x is 10. Okay? Is 1, I mean. Log of x base x is 1. So, yun po yung ating titingnan. But, say for example, we have log of x base 2 as x goes to 1. So, kung 1 po yan, so it means, ano ang exponent? Ang exponent niyan, sabi ko kanina, na kung 1 po ito, it means, ang ating value nito ay 0. Why? Because 2 to the 0 equals 1. Therefore, the value of this is 0. Next. No. This one is, yeah, 0. Next, limit of log of e, log of x base e. So remember, kung mag-e ni siya, this one is equal to 1. So the answer for this is 1. And this one, log of 10 base x as x goes to 10, this one is equal to 1. Therefore, the answer for this is 1. So all of this, the answer is 1. Okay? Tama ba? That this one, the answer for this is 0, not 1. So, this one is 0, this one is 1, this one is 1. Okay. Now, look at this. Determine the following. Limit of ln of x as x goes to 1. Alam natin na ang ln of x ay log of e. Log of e base x, when x is equals to 1, the result is 0. Okay? Log of x base 10. Kasi pag wala siya nakalagay, it means base 10. So, it means log of 1 base 10. So, ano exponent ng 10 to get 1? The answer is 0. So, that means the limit of 0 is 0. Number 3, ln of x. We know that ln is log of e. Log of e base x or log of x base e. It means, ano ang exponent nito? E to the power of blank is equals to e. The answer is 1 because e to the 1 equals e. And this one, log of x, when x is 3, base 10. So, that is log of 3 base 10. So, kung hindi natin alam ang sagot, isulat lang natin, log of 3 base 10. And number 5, ln of x. Ang ln of x natin ay log of e. So, log of x base e, where the x goes from 0 from the right. So, kung mapapansin natin, ito yung ln. Ito yung ln, log of ln of x. So, kung mapapansin natin, as x goes to 0 from the right, it does not exist. Okay? Papunta po siya ng negative infinity. So, that means, ang number 6 natin ay negative infinity. Limit of ln of x as x goes to 3. So, ang ln of x ay ito po. As x goes to 3, it means, dito siya, it means it is ln of 3. I don't know what is the value of ln of 3. Let's compute that using the calculator. Okay? Next one is, remember that y equals sine x. And sine 0 equals 0, sine 90 equals 1, sine 180 is 0, sine 270 is negative 1, and sine 360 is equals to 0, and so on. So, that 1 ay gagamitin natin. So, for example, limit of sine x as x goes to 0. Alam natin that sine 0 is equal to 0. Okay, so the answer is 0. Number 2, limit of sine x as x goes to pi over 2. Ang pi over 2 natin is 1. It means this is 1. Limit of sine x as x goes to pi. Ang pi natin is 180. And that is 0. So therefore, that is 0. Limit of sine x as x goes to negative pi over 2. So kung negative pi over 2, we have negative 1. Kasi po, bababa po yan siya doon. And then, limit of sine x as x goes to negative pi. Pag negative pi po siya, that is still 0. Okay? And say for example, remember y equals cosine x. So, ang cosine 0 is 1. Cosine this one, pi is negative 1. Cosine 2 pi is positive 1. And cosine 3 pi is negative 1. So, and so on. So, ano ba ang limit of cosine x as x goes to 0? Of course, cosine 0 is 1. Therefore, this is 1. Cosine x as x goes to pi over 4. So, ang pi over 4, that is 45 degrees. And cosine of 45 degrees is square root of 2 over 2. Okay? Square root of 2 over 2. And we have cosine of x. Ano ba ang cosine of x ng pi over 3? Kasi po, ang pi over 3 is equal to 60 degrees. That means, ano ba ang cosine of 60 degrees? Ang result niya ay 0.5. 0.5. Ang cosine ng x as x goes to pi. Ang pi po ay 180 degrees. And cosine 180 degrees is 0. Positive 1. So that means this is positive 1. And as x goes to pi over 2 of cosine x plus pi over 2, that is pi over 2 plus pi over 2, that is pi. And pi is equal to negative 1. So that means the result is negative 1. And we have 45 degrees plus 90 degrees. That is pi over 2, 90 plus pi over 45 degrees, 135. And 135 is the reference angle is 45. So cosine, that is quadrant 2, 135, 45. Cosine is x. That means that is square root of 2 over 2 kasi ang 45 degrees. And that means since nandoon siya sa quadrant 2, and the quadrant 2 ang x ay negative, therefore, ang ating sagot dito sa number 6 is negative square root of 2 over 2. That is the limit. Okay?